Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kevin. She's Nikki.
Hi.
And, Nick, what is going on, or, well, what happened this week, I guess, in history? Not what's going on this week in history,
Yeah.
because it's already happened. So,
Lots that will be in history books forever. But on
yeah.
this day in history, on December 21st, 1891,
Okay.
30-year-old James Naismith introduces the first game of basketball. So the first basketball game was played,
Okay.
1891. Said it was
Okay.
created by or tested. They tested his rules. 18 students at the International Young Men's Christian Association in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm,
They attempted to throw a soccer ball into a peach basket on a balcony.
I think I've heard of that, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I want to say, and I'm not sure about this, so, and I'm not going to look it up because I'm lazy at the moment. Um, but I want to say that the trophy that you like the the championship trophy is the Naismith Trophy. So I wonder if that's the same
Oh,
thing, which
I
is
don't
a
know.
possibility. Um, but I didn't know that's what that was. So that's interesting if that is.
Yeah. It's a prestigious award in basketball recognizing the top men's and women's college players and coaches in the US.
So it's not the it's okay. So there is an award. It's not the championship though. But okay, it is an award. There is a Naismith Award. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, college.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that's fun. I didn't know that. That's 1891. That's older than I thought basketball was.
Mm-hmm.
You always hear about baseball
Baseball.
being like, I guess you hear about, I know baseball is actually older than that, but you always hear
Mm-hmm.
about baseball being the modern day baseball was from like 1903 or 1912 or whatever, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah, because they argue like, did we just steal what cricket was and like make it different? There's
yeah,
like tons of different arguments about the origins of baseball.
yeah,
So,
which modern day baseball, like, I mean, having it be around for a long time, like that long, and not have any changes is interesting. Like
hmm
it's cool that it's been able to stay that like consistent for that long, but at the same time, like that's a long time to not have any changes. So I
yeah.
don't like I don't know, but anyway. Um, so Nick, was there anything else that you had from this week in history, or was that it for this week?
No, that was the most interesting one.
Okay. You're yawning already, which is going to probably make me yawn because I'm tired and I just took a nap. So we're probably going to go back and forth. This is going to be an interesting podcast. But
hmm
anyway, this week, Nick, we are talking about Robert Berdella, right? Is that how I pronounce
Yes.
it? I have never heard of this guy.
hmm
He is or was a serial killer in Kansas City.
hmm
Um,
Yes.
didn't
I heard about it in passing from some YouTube video I was watching. And of course, I perked up because I heard Kansas City.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me look at this guy. And then I was like, oh, yeah, he's creepy and weird. Let's talk about him.
Yeah. Didn't know there was a Kansas City serial killer. I mean, it doesn't, with how many
There
serial
were
killers there
actually
are.
several, but he is one of the most like, uh, I hate using the word renowned for like serial, like bad people,
Yeah.
but one of the most like well known,
Yeah.
I guess. So there was actually there's a couple serial killers from like the Kansas City area and also Kansas, but also just Missouri in general. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, Robert Berdella, born 1949 in Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
baptized Catholic, stopped attending church services when he was little because he was in kind of an abusive home. He was pretty young, so I don't know if like his family stopped going or what the thing was, but they ended up moving and he enrolled in the Kansas City Art Institute.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where his foray into Kansas City began. So he enrolled in the Art Institute, began to, I guess people that knew him said he began to abuse drugs and also sell drugs and alcohol. And this was in the 60s. So 67 was when he enrolled in the Art Institute. So there was a couple different times he was actually arrested. He sold amphetamines, LSD, marijuana, and this is back like all this was illegal, including marijuana. So he was actually arrested several times, dropped out of art school, kind of got his ish together, and started working as like a chef
Mm-hmm.
for different country clubs.
And he was a very
So
good chef from what I
yes.
understand, like a good
Hmm.
very good at his craft, and started also collecting like antiquities and selling antiquities and being like,
Yeah, at the flea market. Like he rented a
yeah.
flea market space
Mm-hmm.
too. He definitely found his little niche because it says he also joined a local chefs association and set up training classes for aspiring chefs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also at the same time, he helped organize his neighborhood watch organization.
You're not suspected
So maybe
if you're
that's a mental note. Whoever is offering to organize your neighborhood watch, background check them first.
yep,
Vet them a little bit first.
you're not suspected if you're taking part in the community as much.
Hmm.
Yep.
But it was about this time where he was becoming very open about his homosexuality and was in a relationship with a Vietnam veteran. Now, this guy was a little unstable because he had some like PTSD and things from the war. So it was a short term relationship, but that what seemed like, at least from what I can tell in this timeline, his first like imprinting relationship, you know? Um, so okay, I'm gonna switch gears and because this is where he started getting a little crazy.
Okay.
And well, actually, before I tell my story, I'm going to talk about his first victim. So, his first victim was right after he got out of this relationship. He began hanging out with this 19-year-old. He was 35 at this time. Because this was 1984, so not super kosher. Um, he drugged this 19-year-old with animal tranquilizers, did some things to him. I'm not going to go into the details, but this 19-year-old ended up dying. Jerry Howell ended up dying from asphyxiation. So he then, again, I'm not going to go into all the details because it's pretty gory. So, like, if anyone truly wants to know, there's lots of like stories and YouTube videos about this guy, but he hung him upside down on the basement, ended up throwing him in the garbage. Garbage men took him away, never found anything. The only reason they ever knew this was because they found his journals. So, unfortunately, his first victim, they never were able to find him. Um, but I want to switch gears a little bit and tell you a story. Okay. So that was the beginning of his killings. This is
Mm-hmm.
towards the end. So it was a very quiet day in Kansas City's historic Hyde Park neighborhood in 1988. The quietness was shattered when a man wearing nothing but a dog collar around his neck jumped from a second-story window of the house of Robert Berdella. The panicked 22-year-old, 22, again, not kosher, ran to a nearby, for how old he is what I'm saying, ran to a nearby meter reader and told him that he'd been held captive inside for several days. The meter reader contacted the police, who secured a search warrant for Berdella's very unassuming home. In one closet, they uncovered a nightmare. They found a human skull, and then in a very nearby hallway, an entire human vertebrae covered in marks from a hacksaw. Another head, this one only partially decomposed, was found in the backyard. Then it came to be known that Christopher Bryson, the man who escaped, had escaped the lair of the Kansas City butcher. Then they found out, after executing the search warrant, he was not the first person Berdella had abducted. 6 other men had met grisly ends in the very same house, including the one that I told you about earlier. So that is how he was eventually found out, is because this guy jumped from the second-story window and escaped.
with
Ran to the
nothing
meter reader and said,
with
dude,
nothing but a dog collar on.
yeah, that would be extremely traumatizing. I mean, any of this is traumatizing, but at least he made it out. But
Yes.
oh my goodness. Yeah. So, um, Berdella was known growing up as a loner. He was heavily bullied because he had a like really heavy nearsightedness, so he had really thick glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And even his father would bully him for both his sight, his lack of athletic ability. I guess like his younger brother was like really athletic and like a star, whatever. Anyways, the bullying eventually turned into physical abuse. So that's how his childhood went. And then as he was starting to become a teenager, he people from his like high school years say that he was more self-assured, but this is the time where in his journals he says he realized that he was gay
Mm-hmm.
and was really struggling with it internally. So he also wrote in his journals, there was a film in 1965 called The Collector, and it's about a man who stalks and kidnaps a young woman, holds her captive in his basement, and passes away. So a lot of things happened. Not that this is an excuse by any means, because a lot of people have bad childhoods and aren't serial killers, but that's what his journals portray his childhood and growing up as, and what imprinted on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And he took um, during these killings and torture sessions, he took like notes in journals, like
Yes.
like
Mm-hmm.
very intense notes on what he did and photos of what
Yes.
he was doing and
Yeah.
photos with him in them what he was doing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a little yeah.
It's very graphic, and like I don't even want to read what he did in his basement, but like it is very, very graphic. So yeah, 6 victims in total, because the seventh escaped. And yeah,
And
not the best rep for Kansas City
the reason he
at
was
that time.
called the butcher is because he would cut them up into little pieces
Yeah.
and then
Hence why they
yeah.
never found the bodies of some of the victims. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after he was caught, he was indicted by the grand jury for murder. He pled guilty to avoid death penalty. Um, but he died only 3 years later. He died in the penitentiary,
Hmm.
Missouri Penitentiary in Jeff City,
Oh,
at age 43 from a heart attack.
we've been
So
there.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wonder
that's
if
where
we met
he
him.
passed away. We might have met his
We might
ghost.
have met his ghost.
Yikes. Yeah.
We might have met a lot of ghosts, so
Hmm. I wonder how many like ghost serial killers we meet, and you never know they're serial killers, because like there's a lot over history that are unsolved.
yeah. There's a ton over history that are
So,
unsolved. Like
hmm.
there's
Yeah.
I mean there's a ton now that are unsolved. Like
Hmm.
so
So This led me to looking up like more than just him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and who else from Missouri? So there were, I mean, a lot of this is St. Louis and Kansas City,
Makes
the two
sense.
big
Big
cities,
big cities.
obviously.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, so we talked about Robert Berdella. He is called the Kansas City Butcher. There was also Lorenzo Gilliard, who was called the Kansas City Strangler. Is believed to have killed at least 13 women. I don't think he was actually convicted for more than like two, but so that was another Kansas City one. Now, St. Louis has a few. We've talked about this one. Gary Muehlberg was the package killer. Do
Mm-hmm.
you remember our Limp Mansion
Yep.
tour or Limp Brewery tour?
Yep. We talked about him at that. Yeah, they talked about him at
Mm-hmm.
that one.
So he's a package killer.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What is it again? Is it three or more that you have to be a serial killer? Four or more? What is a serial killer exactly? I don't remember how many people
um,
you have to kill to be a serial killer, to be
it
considered a
was
serial killer.
like there was a certain number,
And it's
three
over
or
a
four. I don't remember the exact number, but it was not in a spree. It was
yeah.
like
It's
over,
over a time.
like it
It's
has
over
to
a
not be in a spree.
yeah. It's over a time span, like not just like in one instance of you just going on a
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, um, Maury Travis was another St. Louis serial killer who claimed to have a torture chamber in his home and murdered 17 women, but he killed himself in jail. Terry Blair, Kansas City, he was convicted of murdering six women in 2004 and actually died in prison last year.
Hmm.
So I guess investigators believed there may have been more than those six women that he was convicted of. Um, I-70 killer is still unidentified. This was like a really big thing of there were six murders across I-70 from Indiana to Illinois to Missouri to Kansas.
Hmm.
So that kind of includes
Missouri. Yeah.
um, yeah, because St. Charles and Raytown were two of the locations, basically St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Um, this one though was interesting. So this is the last on the list I have of like other serial killers from Missouri. Bertha Gifford. So considered one of America's earliest female serial killers. She was a farm wife in rural Catawissa, Missouri in the early 1900s, accused of murdering three people, suspected of 15.
Dang.
So
That's not a. It's not a.
those farm
It's
wives.
not common for a woman
So
either.
look out
That's
for the farm wives
yeah.
and the neighborhood watch.
Yeah. I was gonna say you don't the you don't see women serial killers very often. That's a less common one. So
No, I have stats on that. Um, because I love stats. In the United States, this is all of the United States, but
mm,
this is according to the Office of Justice.gov. 85% of United States serial killers were male,
mm-hmm.
8% female, and then the rest are undetermined because the serial still or the killer still aren't caught.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And 82% of those were white. Shocking.
Yeah.
It's usually white males.
Yeah.
Like every documentary is a white male. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kev.
I mean, I don't plan on
You're
going
just
on a
another statistic.
I don't plan on going on a killing spree anytime soon. So it's what it is. But it's
Mm.
um yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Missouri,
don't.
though, even though it seems like there's a lot, there's actually, I did look up like
There's nothing in my
what
freezer. There's
states.
nothing in my freezer, by the way, besides food. I promise.
Just food.
It's just
I
food.
did look up different stats of like different states and serial killers and things. Um, by total number of victims, California and Texas have the most victims of serial killers.
That makes sense.
But per capita, Alaska, Louisiana, and then Kansas are one, two, and three. So Kansas,
Kansas
I
surprises
mean,
me a little bit.
yeah.
Alaska
But
doesn't
I
so much.
mean, Yeah, and that's per capita. So 6 victims per 100,000 residents in Kansas, that's quite a few,
Yeah.
more than you
Kansas
would think.
Kansas surprises me. Alaska doesn't so much. What was the other one in there?
Hmm. Louisiana.
Louisiana. That one doesn't surprise me as
Mhm.
much either. Um,
Yeah. Now you want to know which state produces the most serial killers? I have that list too.
Can I guess?
So,
Let's see. Hold on. Hold on.
yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. Produces the most serial killers. I mean, I'm gonna guess it's a populated state, right? Like,
Well, they adjust it per capita.
oh, they just
So
per capita. Okay.
it's the states that have the most serial killers originating from there adjusted for population.
Okay. Um. Hmm.
I'll give you a hint that there's a list of the top 5. 2 of the 5 we just talked about.
Well, then I'm gonna guess Alaska then.
No, the
No.
other 2.
Wow. Okay. Kansas and Louisiana then. Okay. Interesting.
Yep, they are number 2 and 3 on the list for producing the most serial killers.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense then. If they were producing, then they would be the two of the top
Hmm.
of the
But the state
highest.
that produces the most serial killers we have not talked about. I'll give you a hint. It starts with an M and it's up north. Testing your
Is it
geography.
really big? Is it a really big state?
Yes.
Is it Montana?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So Montana is the number 1 state or number 1 in producing the most serial killers. So
Hmm.
not sure what they're putting in the
I
water up
wonder.
in Montana.
Alaska's the same way, and I know Louisiana's a weird one because it's kind of like, down there in the south and like warm, but there's rural areas that are kind of like out in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
But I wonder if it has something to do with like
Well, that's what I kind of thought too. But then the
rural
next one's on
areas
number
and
4 and 5, Rhode Island and Maine.
okay, well, that kind of throws that out of the water because Rhode Island's tiny and
Exactly.
it's basically just Providence.
So I really don't think there's any rhyme or reason.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Well,
Okay.
that's really all I had on
Yeah. That's odd.
today's version of serial killers.
Yeah.
This episode's version of serial killers. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that means it's time for facts then. Okay, Nick, what is your fact for this week?
Okay. So I spoiled half of it because I already told you that 85% of United States serial killers were male and 8% were female. But 87% operated alone. This surprised me. 10% operated in pairs or groups. And
Interesting.
then the other couple percent is unsolved still. But I thought that was a high number because we only ever, you think of
I
serial
think of
killers
serial
as
killers as
working
being
alone.
by themselves. Yeah.
Because a lot of them have personalities that they can't have or won't trust apart. There's issues there.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. I guess it kind of depends on this also goes on to say like um motives were often psychological with evidence of compulsive behavior, but 8% of the cases involved practitioners of Satanism or other religious groups, and another 5% involved members of the medical profession. But I thought that the 8% being religious killings was interesting. Maybe some of those were like a partner or group setting. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's from the U.S. Department of Justice. .gov. So
So,
hopefully it's accurate.
um, I have a little interesting thing here.
Okay.
So, according to the Office of Justice programs, there are four types of serial killers, or four types of serial killers. So, and they can overlap, or if they're not like whatever.
Hmm.
But, and then I have one little thing at the end that kind of breaks this whole thing. But it is, I thought the last part is more interesting, I think, than the four parts of serial killers. But there are serial killers who are visionaries, who are like driven by psychosis, or like demons or something like that. So like they're whatever, they're mission oriented, so they're trying to like eliminate a group of people or something like that. They're hedonistic, so they're like if they get some sort of pleasure out of it, or they're control oriented, so like they're trying to, which is apparently the most common type. So they're trying to like they get a satisfaction out of dominating or controlling somebody, which is what I would guess Berdella was, being like a
Hmm.
torture person. He might have been something else as well, but that seems to be like
Yeah.
basically what the story that we're talking about would go off of.
Interesting.
So on here though, also, and this is an interesting part that I'd never thought about, but it says, why are contract killers like hitmen not serial killers? And it's because
I mean, that makes sense.
they have differing objectives to their crimes. It's not like the goal is not to kill people. The goal is like
To do your job.
to do your job, to make money. Like
Hmm.
it's not a the goal is not it's a differing goal, so it's more of a financial uh thing than it is like an emotional
Mm.
or whatever incentive. So hitmen are
Interesting.
not technically considered serial killers, even though they may
Makes sense. Like
kill.
they commit serial murders, but they're not serial
Yeah.
killers because they're
So
hired.
yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting in the worst way is what this episode is.
yeah. We do a lot of those.
I know we do that a lot. We're
uh,
probably like some of the happiest people I know. Like I would rank myself in the top 5 happiest people I know, and you're up there as well. Our episodes usually don't reflect that.
oh man. Well, that's just because we're into some weird stuff sometimes. So and kind of like dark humor and things like that. So
Well, and
anyway.
I was thinking about this the other day. A lot of history is dark.
Oh yeah.
So it's just I think a lot of the topics we're interested in are just inherently dark anyway.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.